You know, some songs tell a story. Others, they just give you a vibe. But every once in a while, a song comes along that changes the world just by asking questions. That's exactly what we're diving into today. Bob Dylan's Blowin' in the Wind. This is the song that basically proved a simple question could be way more powerful than any easy answer. Just let that sink in for a second. That one line, it kicks off the whole thing. And it's so much more than just a lyric, right? It's really the first shot fired in a song that became the soundtrack for a whole generation's search for, well, for justice, for peace, for some kind of meaning in a crazy world. All right, section 1, the man and the times. I mean, to really get why these questions hit so hard, you've got to understand the guy who wrote them and the world that was swirling around him at the time. So let's talk about his journey. He starts out as Robert Zimmerman in a small town of Minnesota, and from there he makes his way to the epicenter of the folk scene, Greenwich Village in New York. He rebrands himself as Bob Dylan, and almost overnight, he becomes the voice for this new, kind of restless generation. He just perfectly captured all the hopes and the fears of the early 60s. But here's the thing. Blowin' in the Wind wasn't just another song on the radio. No way. It became something much, much bigger. The civil rights movement grabbed onto it almost immediately. I mean, those questions about freedom and justice, they resonated so deeply that the song literally transformed into an anthem. You'd hear it sung at marches, at rallies. It gave a voice to this incredible, powerful struggle for equality. Okay, section 2, war, freedom, and blindness. So the whole power of the song is really built on 3 stanzas, and each one tackles a massive theme. You've got war, you've got freedom, and you've got this idea of blindness. Let's break them down. Yeah, how many times must the cannonballs fly? This first theme, it just hits you, doesn't it? What's so brilliant is that Dylan isn't up on a soapbox preaching about peace. He's just asking a simple question. Why do we keep doing this? Why do we let the weapons fly? And man, that question was powerful during the Cold War, and it's just as powerful today. Yeah, it's all about the futility of war. It's Dylan basically pointing a finger at our collective failure to learn from history and, just choose peace for once. And then he pivots. From the tragedy of war, he moves straight to the fight for human rights. How many years can some people exist before they're allowed to be free? I mean, wow, that is just such a direct, unflinching challenge to a society that was denying basic freedom to so many people. So this second theme is all about that struggle for freedom, and it's not some abstract philosophical idea. No, this line is a direct echo of a very real, very painful struggle for dignity, for equality, for the basic right to just be seen as a person. Okay, so this next part is where it gets really interesting. After tackling these huge issues, war, injustice, Dylan does something genius. He pivots. He turns the spotlight away from the big picture and shines it right on you, the listener. He's asking, how many times can a man turn his head and pretend that he just doesn't see? This is personal now. And that's the third theme, willful blindness. This is the ultimate challenge of the song. He's not just talking about governments or systems anymore. He's asking about our part in it, our complicity. He's calling out that moral failure that happens every single time we see something wrong and just, look away. It's all about individual morality, our own conscience. All right, section 3, the elusive answer. So after all that, these huge, heavy questions about war and freedom and our own moral compass, what's the answer? What solution does Bob Dylan give us? Well, turns out the answer is just as famous as the questions themselves. There it is. The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind. It's not a 10-point plan, is it? It's poetry, and it's kind of beautiful and, honestly, a little frustrating. It's so ambiguous. So the real question is, what on earth does that actually mean? So when he says it's blowing in the wind, he's not saying the answers are gone or impossible to find. Actually, it's the exact opposite. He's saying the answers are all around us. They're as obvious, as simple, as present as the wind blowing on your face. They're right there. And that, right there, is the gut punch of the entire song. The point isn't that the problems are too complicated to solve. The problem is us. It's our refusal to just open our eyes and see the obvious moral path forward. The answer is literally blowing in the wind, but we're choosing to ignore it. We won't listen, we won't act. So, section 4, why it still matters. Okay, so this song was written way back in 1963. It's about the struggles of that time. So, why are we still talking about it today? Well, because its message is just completely, absolutely timeless. I mean, you can't overstate its legacy. This song really cemented the idea that pop music could be a serious force for social change. It inspired generations of activists and artists, and it proved that those core questions about war, about freedom, about personal responsibility, they don't go away. They just keep echoing decade after decade.
And I think that's the real genius of it all. The song doesn't give us the answers. It's not supposed to. Its real power is that it teaches us, it forces us to keep asking the questions. Its job isn't to make us feel comfortable. Its job is to make sure we never, ever stop confronting the hard stuff.
Which brings us right back to that idea of personal responsibility. It leaves us with one final thing to think about, doesn't it? What are we pretending not to see in our world right now? Because the answer, it seems, is still out there, just blowing in the wind. The only real question left is, are we willing to listen?